The message was simple. Exile complete. No survivors expected. End of line. It came from the Galactic Council. Their words carried finality, cold and bureaucratic, the kind of cruelty that didn't need malice, only indifference. A small human settlement, Earthborn, had been condemned to Xylar 9, a planet so hostile it made most species shiver just thinking about it. Gravity like a vice, air laced with toxins, acid storms that could eat through metal in minutes. Volcanic rivers split the continents, glowing like molten veins under a dark, storm-laden sky. Even the local wildlife, if it could be called that, consisted of amorphous predators made of living minerals and liquid flame. They wanted death. The galaxy expected silence. What they got was something else entirely. The pods fell through the atmosphere like meteors, tearing trails of fire through green lightning. Inside, humans braced themselves against crushing acceleration, their bodies forced beyond any limit a council physiologist could comprehend. One laughed. "Feels like home," he said, voice steady despite the shaking metal. The others just grinned, silent in their resolve. When the pods hit, they hit hard. Shockwaves rippled through the canyons, melting sand into glass. And yet, the pods opened. Not to death, but to motion. The humans stepped out into the burning air, eyes narrowed against the glare, lungs adapting in seconds to the poison atmosphere with rationed oxygen filters and sheer stubborn will. They stood upright where others would have collapsed. They looked around, taking in the chaos of wind and fire, and started working. Hours later, the first alien drones arrived, small, silent, expecting to record corpses. Instead, they captured footage of humans tearing apart their own landing pods for parts. A woman knelt in the black sand, dragging a molten steel plate into shade to cool. She carved into it with volcanic glass, shaping a blade with methodical calm. Nearby, a man lifted a broken thruster and rewired it into a crude cutting torch. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. "Subject species appears resilient," muttered one alien observer through a comlink. "Correction? Abnormally resilient." "Impossible," another hissed. "Gravity alone should have crushed their lungs." Then came the shard. A young man with burn scars hurled it at a hovering drone. The metal cut through the machine's casing and buried itself deep inside its core. The drone dropped like a stone. Static filled the comms. They're fighting back?" "They're not fighting," said the chief observer slowly. "They're adapting." The storms rolled in before dusk. Lightning tore the sky apart. The ground cracked, releasing geysers of steam that glowed faint blue with ionized gas. Acid rain hissed against the metal shelters the humans had built in a single afternoon. They moved with an uncanny rhythm, scavenging, crafting, defending. Every failure became data. Every loss became a design change. A man named Karas dragged a melted armor plate into a pit and laughed. "You know what this reminds me of?" "Earth," someone answered, voice muffled by a makeshift respirator. "Yeah, just louder." When dawn came, they had shelters, weapons, and organized patrols. The drones sent by the Council were gone, either melted, hacked, or converted into tools. The alien observers in orbit logged every detail with growing unease. In the central chamber of the Galactic Council, light from dozens of suns filtered through crystalline walls. "You're certain the transmission is authentic?" "Yes, honored delegates. The exiles are alive. They've constructed defensive positions." A murmur spread through the assembly. Species that had survived for millennia exchanged worried looks. Humans were supposed to be primitive, a minor Deathworld anomaly tolerated on the edge of galactic civilization. "Impossible," said a counselor, with translucent skin. They were dropped on Xylar 9. That planet has a survival index of 0. "And yet they live," replied the intelligence officer. "They appear to be thriving." "Terminate observation," ordered another. "Deploy a fleet." "End this properly." And so the fleet came. The humans saw them before they arrived. Satellites, jury-rigged from fallen drones, detected the jump signatures hours before the first cruiser entered orbit. They didn't panic. They prepared. One team tunneled into volcanic ridges, setting explosives shaped from condensed acid. Another repurposed lightning conductors into rail cannons. Every scrap of the planet became part of their defense. They learned to breathe less, to move with the rhythm of the gravity, to sense the magnetic shifts in the air before lightning struck. In less than 3 days, they were no longer surviving Xylar 9. They were synced with it. The planet hated them, but it had accepted them. The fleet entered the upper atmosphere in formation, sleek, perfect, armed with weapons that could obliterate continents. The alien admiral looked down at the smoldering surface and smiled. "Burn it clean," he said. The sky lit up. Orbital strikes hammered the canyons. The fleet scanners reported total impact saturation, then movement. From the fissures below, something rose. Jagged, black and silver ships, forged from volcanic alloys and repurposed pod cores. Human-made, but alien in shape. Their engines pulsed with the same rhythm as Xylar 9's tectonic heart. Each ship looked alive, as if the planet itself had grown teeth. The first human volley hit before the fleet could react. Molten plasma, accelerated by gravity wells, sliced through their lead destroyer. The second barrage came from beneath the clouds, guided lightning, channeled through storm conductors. The Council fleet reeled. Where did they get ships? Those are the planet's resources. They're flying the surface. One ship, the Exile's Will, rammed an enemy cruiser, tearing straight through the hull, emerging on the other side, wreathed in fire. Human voices echoed across the comms. "You should have left us to die." Within 20 minutes, the entire vanguard was gone. Scattered wrecks fell back into the atmosphere like rain. The survivors broadcast desperate messages to command, their voices trembling. "They're using the storms against us. The gravity, it's pulling our rounds off course. It's not the planet. It's them." Days turned into a blur of rebuilding. Humans reworked the destroyed ships into orbital platforms. They learned to control the volcanic flows, channeling magma into power conduits. They created launch bays, armored outposts, and living ecosystems in the chaos. Alien drones, sent to observe, never returned. Their feeds went silent, cut off mid-transmission. What little footage remained showed dark silhouettes walking through fire without fear. In orbit, panic spread among the Council admirals. "We sent 2 fleets, both gone. How many humans were on that transport?" 612, and now they have a planet." The Council convened again. Now the word containment had replaced exile. Talk of treaties gave way to talk of fear. They cannot be allowed to expand. If they leave Xylar 9, it's over. But containment was already impossible. On the 6th day, human ships broke orbit, small, fast, each one built from planetary matter. They didn't attack immediately. They drifted silently among the wreckage of the Council's fleet, broadcasting a single message on every open frequency. "This world is claimed. Enter, and you join it." Desperate, the Council sent a single envoy ship, carrying translators and peacekeepers. The vessel approached cautiously, lights bright, weapons cold. "We wish to discuss terms," the envoy transmitted. From the surface, a signal pulsed back, rhythmic, calm. Moments later, a ship rose to meet them. Colossal. Its hull glowed with heat, like cooled magma, its shape both alien and unmistakably human. The envoy sensors screamed warnings, radiation, heat, power readings off the charts. The voice that came through was quiet, almost kind. "You exiled us. You wanted silence. Now you will have it." The Deathworlder ship fired once. A beam of pure plasma tore through the envoy's vessel, leaving only molten fragments drifting through the clouds. By the 10th day, the humans of Xylar 9 had united the entire hemisphere under their control. They had energy grids powered by lightning, orbital guns built from wreckage, and a fleet larger than any single council member had dared imagine. The council's response was silence. For the first time in centuries, they didn't know what to do. Whispers spread through the outer colonies, tales of humans who survived the impossible. Merchants avoided the sector. Military patrols refused to enter the system. Xylar 9 became a myth, a place spoken of only in warnings. From orbit, the planet looked peaceful now, storms swirling in controlled patterns, volcanoes erupting in rhythmic pulses, like the heartbeat of something alive. A single transmission escaped the system, faint but clear. Humans do not die. They adapt, they survive, and when they come, you better hope you're not calling for help.